Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add. I call it a man baby because I think of Austin Powers when he comes across a woman.
Wait, I've got an idea.
Austin, why on earth did you hit that woman?
And then they cut away, cut back, and it's clearly a man.
Right, let me show you, baby. That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Sephiroth is very androgynous. He's ripe for being punched out by Austin Powers, that's for sure. He fills multiple niches. The puzzle with aristocrats is you need cards, you need bodies, and you need a win condition. He has the win condition and he has the card advantage. The front half, he enters or attacks, you sack another thing, you draw a card, and whenever anything dies, doesn't have to be stuff from your board, it could be anybody's board. It's a Blood Artist trigger. It adds up. It's a really annoying trigger. People sleep on it, but what's so great about him is when 4 things die, he flips over. You get the Avatar Angel God version of himself, and at that point you get an emblem that's a permanent Blood Artist effect. When he attacks, you could sack any number of things, draw me as many cards. There's only 2 cards that do that, like Plum the Forbidden and Bantu, the one that puts itself 3 from the top when it dies. So there's not a lot of effects that do that, which makes it kind of special. I mean, he's also special because he's the first time we get an emblem from a, non-planeswalker body. It's pretty sick. Getting our commander out early is important. So I opted to make 2 of our game changers fast mana. Now, I would normally use my game changers for something synergistic. I only want bodies, and there aren't any black or colorless game changers that put in a lot of bodies into play. So I elected to go for fast mana instead. That was my whole thought process behind that. That philosophy carries over into the rest of our deck. We care about bodies and only making bodies. So that's what we do. A Bloodsoaked Champion, Forsaken Miner, Infestation Sage, Nested Shambler, Nezumi, Linebreaker. These 2 put in tokens when they die. These 2 come back. But I do want to talk about Edict effects. Edict effects are super powerful because it enables our Sephiroth to flip from 1 spell. Ideally, we cast an Edict effect if there's 4 people playing, like in most Commander games, 4 creatures die.
I'm good with calculation.
For a very efficient cost, and our goal is to get as many Sephiroth emblems as we can get, and then punish people for killing our commanders so we can get another one. The Edict effects, they're very synergistic, they're not just in here for removal. So keep that in mind if you want to build a Sephiroth list. Include as many of them as you can that are efficiently costed. Like, I don't go beyond 3 mana unless it hits multiple things, like beyond 1 per spell. If I pay more than 3, I'm getting 2 things per person. Curse Marauder, an Edict effect on a body for 2 mana. Bitter Blossom gives us a body every upkeep. Carrier Thrall dies, it gives us a body. Chthonian Nightmare is really goddamn annoying. Not only can we just repeatedly cast this over and over again in a turn, but we could get several death triggers to flip Sephiroth again and just get a ton of value. Even if we get our less impactful spells like Carrier Thrall here, we could loop it over and over again and get a ton of bodies, so when this flips over, we have fodder to draw more cards. It's pretty brutal. Like Discordant Piper, Doomed Dissenter, they do the same thing as before. I do have a concern though, because we are so low to the ground and we have so many low impact spells. I worry if it's enough, but I think the chip damage from the emblems and Sephiroth should add up and eventually get a victory, essentially. I'm going to stick to my guns and lean into what we're good at. Dreadhorde Invasion, a less effective Bitter Blossom for sure. Genesis Chamber, it's symmetrical, everyone gets a token, but I think we are better at putting non-token bodies into play for how cheap and efficient we are, so it becomes slightly asymmetrical. It benefits us more than anyone else. Shadar Ghoulcaller, another Bitter Blossom effect. Liliana's Triumph is a Edict effect. Same with Momentum Breaker. Mercier puts more bodies. Nether Trader is a recursive body we get back for cheap. Orzhov Enforcer, another death trigger puts another body in. Or's Old Cemetery, this helps us keep our hand nice and full with fodder. Grease of Forgotten Gods, an edict effect that draws us a card and generates mana. It does force us to sack too, but we have so many fodder creatures on this list, I think it's really good in our list. Sewing Skeleton, recursive body, Shoulders to Edict, another edict effect. Tithing Blade, edict effect. There's a lot of 2 mana edict effects now. That seems to be like the new standard.
Alright, keep going, keep coming.
Stuff like Tithing Blade came out, it was definitely a secret power creep because most of the time you have to pay 3 mana for this effect, but we get it for 2 and it doesn't force us to sacrifice. Super nice. Forces our opponents though. Some would say, oh man, but like we need 4 bodies to die. That's okay. Our commander can go to combat, sack a thing, and then we meet the 4 body requirement. No big deal. Wiggling Grub produces 2 bodies. Avenger of the Fallen, probably one of our best combo pieces with our commander. It does make you conscientious of the stack. You have to select the Sephiroth trigger to go on first, and then elect this to go on after because it resolves in a top-down fashion. So this will put a bunch of bodies into play. Sephiroth will resolve after. We sack all the bodies, draw a ton of cards. Blightmound makes a body when a non-token dies. Braids is just an annoying engine. Same with Dark Prophecy. The uniqueness of Dark Prophecy and Liliana Dreadhorde General is they trigger on tokens dying. There are the only 2 cards in Magic that do that. So if you're trying to skimp on those 2 cards, I highly recommend you don't. Another Edict effect. Explorer Lands, we're mono black. We have a bunch of snow swamps, so hopefully we catch people with their pants down. If we play against another mono black deck, I hope they're not playing snow swamps, but I don't know. Snow swamps are a little more rare, so we play them over regular swamps for that reason. They deny people getting the symmetrical effect of our lens here. Edict effect. This triggers on non-tokens dying. You get a token out of it. Edict effect, Masamune. This doubles our death triggers. There's only 2 cards in mono black that do that. Play them. For $1.68, it's a steal. What's also kind of funny is it doubles our emblem trigger too. So if we have multiple emblems, we'll double each of them. Super fun. Bonus Hunger. This is a cool edict effects because Ascend, and then it forces people to sack multiple creatures for 3 mana. Nothing beats that. Flare Malice and Instant Speed effect that we can cast for free. We have a ton of fodder, and it gets the 4 bodies in our graveyard. Grave Pact, we all know what that does. It makes anytime our thing dies, other people's stuff dies, and we get that 4-body death trigger. Cletus exiles creatures as they dies, and it gives us a token. So if it fills multiple roles, it hits on other graveyard synergies and then gives us bodies, which we desperately need and care about. Wrinkle is an edict effect with extra value of making people discard. Because we draw so many cards in this list, it makes this card more asymmetrical. We could play around it more effectively than anybody else can. This is another thing that generates bodies for non-tokens dying. Darkness Crystal. It's new, and I wanted to give it a try. Hates on other people's graveyard synergies, and then makes our black souls cheaper. It's not the love. Dictator of Urbos is basically another version of Grave Pact, just 1 mana more. But we could do it at instant speed and do a combat trick with it, catch people with their pants down, which makes it worth extra mana, in my opinion. Dribnod, this is the other only doubling death triggers in black. Very affordable, $4.96. Yisa, because Sephiroth is a blood artist trigger, we're targeting people, so that counts as a crime being committed. Breaking the law. So it is possible that we generate 2 bodies on each turn, and by the time it revolves back to ours, we'll have 6 bodies in play. Way too good to ignore. Ogre Slumlord. This is in here because this gives us a death trigger when anything dies, including our opponent's stuff, and it gives us more bodies. And the bodies we get have death touch, so it's really goddamn annoying for our opponents. Witch of the Moors gives us 3 death triggers with the end step. If we gain life, which we should get with Sephiroth, either from the emblem or on the front side. It guarantees we gain the life loss and force the edict effect. And we get to return some to our hand for future fodder, or we get a key piece back. It's super nice. Let's talk about the budget version of this list. We'll only talk about the stuff that's unique. Mana rocks get less efficient. We don't get the cool stuff like Explorar Lens anymore, or the Warhammer rock. We get to play with crappy 2-mana ones. Which they aren't bad. They accelerate our game. It lets us play multiple spells early in the game. There's not much to talk about because the cards were already pretty darn cheap for the style of play that we were going for. Barter and Blood. Like I said earlier, when we start paying more than 3 mana for our edict effects, then I want to force people to sack multiple things. With Wrinkle Sprink, does the same deal. Gauntlet of Power was budget friendly. Unfortunately, it's more symmetrical. People tap swamps, they get double the mana too. Doesn't care what type it is. Zodiark, Umbral God, makes people sack half their board rounded down. And we throw a bunch of counters on this. It's indestructible too, so it's an annoying body for people to deal with. Cage Sun, double our mana production. This is asymmetrical, and it's a Anthem effect. Not bad. That's the end. It's the only differences really, so this is kind of like the same story with Vivi. Super expensive. Commander, not very practical. If you open it from a pack, this is the list for you then.